So we do have a quick update with the operation of João Felix. It does say here, according to multiple sources, that Atletico Madrid have given João Felix the go-ahead to move to Barcelona on loan with a buy option. The operation fits in Barcelona's financial possibilities, and it's possible that everything can be completed this week. So it's surprising news. We have just talked about how João Felix could become a Barcelona player like about 10 hours ago, but now we're here, right? Now we're starting to see real big advancements. 24 hours ago, we weren't even thinking about incorporating João Felix to Barcelona, but now here we are, and that is going to be the latest with the player. We'll see how these things do unfold. I've already told you guys already how João Felix will be fitting at Barcelona. I strongly believe that he will be incorporated into the left wing position and be rotating with what Gavi was bringing in the previous season. It's going to be very healthy competition, and I hope that if he does come in, he comes in with focus, a lot of hunger and determination to succeed. So again, we'll see how this operation does unfold. I'll probably make another video about João Felix if, let's say, for example, Barcelona do submit an offer and he goes in on loan. It's really starting to seem like Atletico Madrid do not want to have the relationship between Diego Simeone and João Felix at the club. One has to go, and for Atletico Madrid, it is very easy. It is for João Felix to go and for Diego Simeone to stay, obviously, right? Because the coach will always come first when it comes to the club. The CEOs of Atletico Madrid probably saw that they performed better when João Felix left in January, because it is true, like there was a lot of stats that backed it up that Atletico Madrid were performing much better. After João Felix left the club, they went on a 13-game unbeaten run. So they're probably like, yeah, let's let go of this player. Let's put him out on another loan. And if it's going to be Barcelona, might as well, because that is our only option and that is where he does want to go. So again, it's very surprising. And now let's move on towards Pedri. And I want to talk about this player mainly because it has also been said that Barcelona are considering Pedri to be one of the captains of the club, right? Very surprising. Just like the whole João Felix thing. There's a lot of things that is going on in the summer. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have said surprising like 4 to 5 times already. And that's because this transfer window is insane. It's insane because I feel like Xavi Hernandez, not only does he want to introduce new players, but he also wants to promote the players that we have currently. And one of the ways Xavi Hernandez is looking to promote is by selecting new captains, because we have let go of Jordi Alba. We have let go of Sergio Busquets. Piqué is gone. Sergio Roberto looks so uncertain about his future. And so I feel like Xavi Hernandez is choosing 4 brand new captains. One of them is definitely going to be Ter Stegen. One of them is also definitely going to be Ronald Araujo. Another one could be Frankie. And then the last one can either go to either Dembélé or Pedri. We have talked about Dembélé before and how he could be one of the captains, but now we're here to talk about Pedri because maybe he could be on the list of captains. Now I know you may say, why would Pedri be one of the captains? He does not have that characteristic in him. He does not have that captain type of leadership. He doesn't scream at the players. He doesn't really do much. He's very quiet. He's just a young little boy. Like, I understand where you guys are coming from, but let me give you guys something else. When it comes to being a captain at any club, right, that typical captain that many do talk about is a captain that yells, likes to be tough, and likes to like injure people and tackle people, right? Like Sergio Ramos or like a Carlos Puyol, someone very loud and likes to speak at the players and say, hey, this is what you got to do. But there has been different forms of leadership, and one of the different forms of leadership is by showing up in big games and in all games and controlling the match. Messi has done that. Messi has brought leadership at Barcelona before because of his performances, because of what he did and how impactful he was in the game. And that's how he is with both Barcelona and Argentina. With Pedri, it's the same thing. He's not loud. He's not out there screaming at the players, but the way that he plays, the type of performances he puts out, it gives you that leadership feeling that he is the one in charge. And especially with Pedri, right, you definitely see him being the one in charge of all the plays for Barcelona. When you see the team performing better because of a player being on the field, that is a form of leadership. When we talk about Barcelona without Pedri and a Barcelona with Pedri, those are two very different teams, and the players know that. And that is one of the ways Pedri does show his leadership, is that he's there to make an impact in Barcelona's game, and the players like to see that. They're like, we need Pedri because he finds me during certain sequences in the game. He helps me when I try to build a play. He helps me in this, he helps me in that. Pedri is there for the players, and you and me see this on TV, and that is why he is being considered as one of the captains. So we have seen in many games, and I really want to emphasize this, Barcelona have struggled to control the matches in certain games, right, when Pedri is not there. But when Pedri is involved, you can just feel like there is relief from the players. There is relief coming from us every time he does have control of the ball. And so I do see him as a complete professional. He's also very competitive on the field, and he's a player that many people do trust. So I can really see him as one of the candidates, and so we'll see how how that turns out. You look at what Pedri has been doing during the summer. The only thing he has been doing is training, trying to improve his game. Not just that, right? But like physically. It has been said, according to some sources in Spain, that Pedri has already added approximately 7 kilograms of muscle mass. And one of the reasons on why he has put out that much muscle is because he wants to avoid any sort of injuries, right? So the more muscle you do have, to an extent, obviously, we can't be like built like the Hulk or something, but when you have a better built player, that does lead towards having better balance on the field. You're going to be stronger, you're going to be more athletic, and that is what Barcelona need in the midfield. Look at Gavi. Gavi barely gets injured. You can see that Gavi's a little more bulkier than both Frankie and Pedri, and that's probably the reason why he hasn't really received a real big injury and why he's able to be so physical on the pitch. I think that Pedri's trying to follow that route. So if Pedri is going to be on the list of captains, count me in. I would like to see him be in the conversation. So moving on towards the next conversation, and that is going to be about Bernardo Silva, a player that I know many of you guys have been wanting me to talk about, and so let's do this. It says here, according to Gerard Romero, that Jorge Mendes wants Bernardo Silva to fulfill his dream of joining Barcelona, and he is in contact with the club all day. One of the keys for this operation to be carried out is that Bernardo would be willing to take a very small salary in his first season, and it will increase year after year as Barcelona do get financially stronger. It has also been said that Barcelona have made several moves and have been in contact with La Liga for many days to see if he can be fit in the wage structure, and so some important exits are going to be needed, but Kessie is not going to be one of them. But a big sale must happen in the summer if they want to fit in someone like Bernardo Silva. Even one of the reporters asked João Laporta what he thought about Bernardo Silva, and Laporta said this: "Yes, I would like to sign Bernardo Silva, of course." And so it's very fascinating, right? And this is going to be one of the things that kind of does confuse me a bit. If we're going to be talking about Barcelona going for João Felix, I don't necessarily think that we need Bernardo Silva, because these two players, they almost bring the exact same thing. I think that Bernardo Silva has better 1v1 duels. He has shown that in the Champions League last season, and he especially showed that against Bayern Munich. But I feel like if we sign Bernardo Silva or João Felix, it'll be too much, I would say. It would definitely be too much, especially if you keep Dembele and Rafinha and you also keep Ansu Fati, and then you add in Lewandowski and Vitor. I think that one of these two players would come. Like if they sign João, Bernardo will not come. If they sign Bernardo Silva, João Felix will not come. It's going to be up to Xavi Hernandez. Like I understand that these two players play on opposite flanks, but still, it's just I feel like it'll be too much, and they're two very similar players. Now, there was a report coming from Javi Miguel, who is very close to Xavi. He has stated earlier today that if Xavi had to pick between Bernardo Silva and João Felix, he would choose the City player, Bernardo Silva, with his eyes closed. Easy decision for Xavi Hernandez. So Jorge Mendes, right, to the agent of Bernardo Silva and also the agent of João Felix, which is crazy to me, right? It's crazy to know that, now that I think about it, to know that Barcelona have a very strong relationship with Jorge Mendes. This is probably the reason why we have been linked with so many great players as of late, is because Jorge Mendes wants to move these big time players to Barcelona, because he probably thinks that Barcelona is the next big thing and he wants to move his players to a better club. But Jorge Mendes has already been communicated that Bernardo Silva's priority is Barcelona. Pep and the sporting director are very clear that if Bernardo Silva really wants this move, they will not get in the way of the player, as expected. We have always talked about this. Everybody at Man City, the way that they function, they say, hey, look, if a player wants to leave, let them go. We don't want to keep players that don't want to be here. As for the expected price tag of Bernardo Silva, it has been said that Barcelona could be looking at a price tag of 60 to 65 million euros, which is, I believe, is a lot of money. I mean, we spent something close to that in the last summer when we tried to get Lewandowski, but I think it'll be like around 20 million euros more for Bernardo Silva. So again, I don't know, but this also continues to tell me that it's either going to be João or Bernardo Silva, because if you're willing to spend 60 to 65 million euros for Bernardo, then you're also telling me that you're willing to spend this amount of money for João Felix eventually after the loan is over, or who knows? Like, I have no idea. I'm not the accountant of Barcelona. I don't know what Barcelona can afford, but if for some reason Mateo Lemán says, yes, we can afford both of these players, we can bring them in because João will be coming on loan and Bernardo Silva will be bought, and that'll be the only player that we will be buying, then let it be. Like, I have no idea. I'm not Mateo Lemán. I'm not the one looking at the bank accounts of Barcelona, but to me, it just seems too fantasy. I'm smiling right now because if that's possible, if we sign these two players, I would be having wet dreams every morning for the next 60 to 70 days. It would be insane. But I'm trying to calm my nerves. I'm not trying to dream too much. I'm just gonna assume, and I want you guys to not get your hopes up too high, but just expect for Barcelona to say we can only sign one of these two players. And so I'm gonna be ending it here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.